breaking news උණුසුම් පුවත් එසැනින් ඔබ වෙත.
And now I can see the first captive is coming out from the first captive that is coming out from the vehicle. He has been coming out amid the chanting of civilians. He has been held by both fighters that you can see on the ground, and he is heading to be handed over on the stage. He has been well dressed and holding a certificate in his hand, which could be quite seen previously in other previous releases of the Israeli captives. He is an old man, and he is right now standing on the front of the crowds of Palestinians who are chanting, celebrating the release of the Israeli captives. They completely are trying to guarantee that the release of the Israeli captives will be smooth, and he is completely looking at the crowds of people who came today to completely watch that. And another captive right now has come to the stage, and they are looking very old captives, and here is the third one. So Laura, the three male Israeli captives have completely been now released from Hamas's captivity on the stage, and they are right now surrounded by Palestinian fighters and soon will be handed over to the ICRC. Now, those fighters who are standing along with the Israeli captives on the stage, they are saluting and greeting Palestinian people alongside with the military wing of Hamas fighters. They are chanting for the brigade, they are chanting for the military movement, and a scene that has been widely seen historic by Palestinians, because they understand that with the release of the Israeli male captives today, 183 Palestinian prisoners will be released from the Israeli jails and will be reunited with their family members, including more than 100 Palestinians who have been quite detained by the Israeli forces. Now, the speaker is introducing the military space, very talented translators and Hebrew spokespeople who are really confidential and have some sort of comprehensive knowledge in the Israeli culture and the civil life in the Israeli territories in order to know how they can deal with the Israeli captives. As we can see that they are talking right now both in Hebrew, and they also possibly sharing messages about how they were lucky to be evacuated and to be released today from the Hamas's captivity. But such sorts of preparations, such conversations that have been previously...
Oh, unfortunately, we've just lost Tarek there. We will try to reconnect with him. As we do, we will continue watching these pictures. I just want to dip in and just get a sense of the sound of the event that's happening there as one of these Israeli captives is being interviewed. So that's one of the Israeli captives being interviewed by Hamas on stage. It's Ohed Ben Ami, I believe, there. And also we can see the relatives' reactions there in Tel Aviv as they watch for the first time in many, many months their relatives, their loved ones being released by Hamas. We've got three of them there on stage being paraded in front of hundreds of Palestinian public who've been waiting for many hours for this release of the three male captives. They look gaunt, but as Tarek was saying, otherwise walking and in good health. Of course, food has been a massive issue in Gaza for the last 15 months, with very little aid entering the Gaza Strip during the course of Israel's war. You can see the three men there holding up certificates. We believe that these are certificates signing for their release. The Red Cross, the Committee of the Red Cross, was just signing those certificates moments earlier. We have three Red Cross cars waiting just out of shot there, just to the left waiting to take these three men through Gaza to the Israeli border, where we have seen a helicopter, a military helicopter, waiting to take them into Israel. I'm going to bring in Hamda because she is in Oman, but she is monitoring events in Israel because the Israeli government won't let us report from inside the country. Hamda, I mean, this is an extraordinary moment for the relatives, for the family, for the friends of these three men, and indeed other hostages who are due to be released from Gaza. We can see the emotion as they watch and they soak up every image that they can get of the release of their loved ones as they are interviewed on stage by Hamas armed fighters there in central Gaza before they're allowed to get into the cars, into the Red Cross cars, and taken to Israel. Talk us through what happens then.
That's right. These three now released Israeli captives are being interviewed in Hebrew by armed fighters of Hamas's military wing, the Al-Qassam brigades. But after what you're seeing now, they will be handed over to the employees from the International Committee of the Red Cross who were previously on that stage signing the release documents. They'll be driven over the Israel-Gaza border, where they will be taken to an Israeli military base, the Re'im base, in the southern part of the country for an initial medical check and identification verification, and they'll be reunited with immediate family there. And then they will be flown to a hospital by a helicopter in central Israel in Tel Aviv, where they will be reunited with the rest of their loved ones and then stay for an extended period of time, depending on their medical and psychological needs. This is an incredibly choreographed system that's been in place, not just since the beginning of this ceasefire deal, but also since November of 2023, when we saw the first ceasefire deal go into place. This is in coordination with the Israeli military and the health ministry that has set up different hospitals, different wings of hospitals for privacy for these captives, for their families. So they are well equipped to receive these captives in these stages. And remember that they are receiving around 3 at a time until the final week of this deal, where we will see 14 captives released at once. It's still unclear who among the 33 to be released in phase 1 are alive and who are deceased, because Israel said that of the list they received, they understand that 25 are alive and 8 are deceased, and all of the captives who are alive will be released first. So it is raising some alarms for some family members who haven't had their loved ones released yet as part of the civilians who were supposed to be freed as the first part of this deal. But nonetheless, the reactions within Israel at Hostage Square are something we've seen every week. They're waiting with bated breath, essentially, for the first sign, those first images of those captives who are being released, waiting to welcome them back into Israeli territory. And this has become quite a symbolic place for family members of captives, for the Bring Them Back Now movement, and for the greater Israeli public who has been campaigning for their release and also protesting against the Israeli government, trying to put pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu and the most far-right government in Israel's history to adhere to this deal, but also not just to phase 1, but to phase 2 and 3. And if you heard the first captive who was speaking upon his release, he had said in Hebrew that he's calling on the government to go through phases 2 and 3 of this deal. And the majority of the Israeli public wants that because they want to see all of the captives who are released. Captives who had been released previously, and their families said that even though they're filled with joy, their joy is not complete because the rest of those families can't experience what they are currently experiencing. So until all of the families get their captives back, until all of those who are being held in Gaza return, that's when they say this deal should be completed.
Hamda, we are seeing now, just to talk to the pictures a little bit, because events are happening quite quickly now. The 3 men have been walked from the stage, flanked by these armed Hamas guards. They have been taken to the Red Cross vehicles. I think they are now inside the vehicles. The fighters, the Hamas fighters, are now trying to part the crowds to allow these Red Cross cars to carry the men away. Let's just pause for a moment on who they are, who has been released in this stage of the deal. We've got Or Levy, 34 years old. He was at the Supernova Music Festival in southern Israel when he was taken by Hamas in the October 7th attacks. We've got Eli Sharabi, he's 52. He was taken by Kibbutz Be'eri. And also Ohad Ben Ami, he's 56. He was also taken from the Kibbutz Be'eri.
Subscribe us for more details.